We are hopefully ready with most animation stuff. I decided today to do some of the... I don't have Blender up anymore. To do some of the other animations and clean up the animations that we already made earlier this week. Just like during the daytime so that we didn't have to bother with that on stream. Because I didn't feel like spending another 2 hours just complaining and having issues. So I finished up the last couple of things off stream, and now that leaves us with setting up the animation blueprint and some of the morphing code and all that kind of stuff. So there's going to be talking is hard. I'm also kind of like stuck with my headphone cord around my everything, really. So my head can not really move, which kind of sucks. Yeah, so we're going to do stuff is what it comes down to. So we have everything imported into here. For the most part, it's just this is supposed to hold on. So I also exported the textures, as you can clearly see. It made this default material. We're not going to be using that actually, because what we'll be using will be this one instead, because this is a child of our anime master material, which I still need to update to take in like occlusion and roughness maps, because it does have a roughness map, but it just expecting like a grayscale map there, and now that I'm using Substance Painter, it actually creates like a stacked map where they all use one channel instead of all the channels. So yeah, I don't have support for that yet. So we're gonna go with just this, but this has the support for like fading in and out with like the noise texture and stuff that you'll see when my enemies die. That being said, you don't really see it as much anymore because obviously I now have all those particles doing stuff as well. But let's set the zombie body material, and that's gonna look shit. So let's set its default value for dissolve into, you see, like this effect, right? Kind of cool. Everything else we can just keep as is for now. And if I just drag the skeleton mesh into the viewport, because we actually looked at how big everything should be as we were modeling it, as we were setting up the like rough outline of everything, it actually is the right size. We don't have the meshes looking like this, right? Like, well, this one is actually kind of the right size. But this is the actual like imported size for my player character, and this is the actual imported size of the whatchamacallit, the like basic Reaper enemy. This is actually the first character that we've created where I looked at how big it should be and modeled it to size. So it's really nice to just import it and already have it sized properly. So really happy with all that. Then I also, today I kind of was bored and I made all this. So this is a quick little shader that just like has a pleasing little effect to it for the pool of darkness at the bottom. So that's, I think, all up to date. And of course we can, well, that's not going to do much because this is the animation where he's hiding under the ground. But we can pull in any of these animations and they like all work for the most part, right? So this is the attack animation for the right arm. Then we have the attack animation for the left arm as well, and so on and so forth. Some of the animations didn't properly import yet, like the appear attack for some reason doesn't really like, the arms just don't do anything. And I think, oh, I just realized what the issue is. is I didn't set the IK influence properly. So it's actually using IK for the arms while they're animated with FK. We can fix that later and re-import that animation. That's fine. For now, though, this means that we can start working on the animation blueprint, which we do of the skeleton. So we make an animation blueprint. Don't really care what I call that. We can just give that the default name. And I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to kind of like steal a bunch of stuff off of the normal. Not a normal. I'm tired. Of the basic demon animation blueprint. Because this is how I have all that set up, right? We have the basic walk. Actually, let's do the basic Reaper. Because this basic Reaper is more akin to the way that we're going to set up the... Where is it? There we go. Then we're going to set up like the idle animation for this guy as well. So this is the animation blueprint that I have for it. It's pretty simple. So we have a base idle animation, and then we apply additive different poses to that, and then we apply another additive pose to it, which makes for this animation where there's like 3 different parts that are individually looping, but not on the same cycle, right? So that's the first thing we're going to do. Then we apply just a animation slot, then we do the knockback as blend pose by Bool, then some other animation slots, and that's kind of everything that's to it. And then like a bunch of specific individual code, which we'll figure out at some points. So let's get started with that. We have the... immediately we already have a difference, by the way, because this thing is going to have 2 different idle states. When he's underground, we will have a bool for that, where we actually need to make a blueprint for this guy as well to have. We'll worry about that in a moment. We'll have a bool on it to check whether or not he's above ground or below ground, because we need to do like different animation stuff for that. For now, we have the idle arms, the idle body, and the idle turn. I don't know what this is going to look like. This might look like shit. Being 1000% real with you guys. So let's just start with idle body and then blend additive, I think it's called, right? Apply additive. So we'll apply additive the arms, which is not an additive animation. So that's actually going to be slightly troublesome. We need to set that to being additive in a moment, because this is going to not work. Yeah. As I said, doesn't work. Also, all of these need to be looping. Now, let's open up this arms animation, because I think for this one, I set the root motion for everything to being true. I think for this one, I don't want it to be true. And I want this to be additive in local space, is what I'm thinking, right? So maybe let's test that out without this one first. Okay, so maybe we do want root motion enabled. I don't know what's up with the size of everything being messed up to do with root motion, but yeah, I don't think we necessarily want that, do we? That's a little too big. Because now it's going to be adding the root motion to that as well. No, it's just messed up. It's like super tiny if I don't set up root motion. How do we have it set up for this guy? That's actually a good question. We have basic idle look, which... Do you have root motion? You do have root motion enabled. And then your additive is local space and skeletal reference pose. So you do have this enabled, which does make him gigantic, but I guess that's fine, maybe. Maybe not. And then skeletal reference pose. So this should do the trick. But it doesn't. So something's messed up about this, clearly. Why is he tiny now? Why is he tiny? Because this thing has root motion, right? Why? I'm confused. Because this shouldn't be this small. Unless it's because I'm using these additive nodes, but I kind of doubt that. What's going wrong here? Look, this also is the kind of stuff that maybe I should look up. Maybe I have some like weird scaling for bones. Just look up this issue on Google real quick. This is the kind of issue that just doesn't happen when you animate everything in Unreal as well, because you don't have this like weird disconnect between like transforms getting baked and being weird and stuff. Unreal animations are tiny when imported. I think I've looked this up before, and people said just enable root motion, which seems like not the way to solve it. Most likely cause scaling in Blender. Either the armature or scene settings or the export settings could be imported. Look, this is the issue, right? Is the mesh itself gets imported properly. The skeleton, however, is the issue. So maybe the skeleton, like the armature, is scaled up in Blender. I don't think it is, though. Your models being gigantic is likely because within Blender, it's hard to keep a scale of like how big things actually are. Like if you just go into front view here, you can see these like bigger squares. You have these squares, right? These smaller ones. But then if you look closely, you can see like these thicker lines. Every one of those thicker squares is a square meter. So this is 1 square meter, meaning that this guy is about like 185 in height. It's really hard to keep that context in mind while you're working on things. So it's very easy to make something that like is just this big, especially since like when you add in like a new object, you add in like a sphere. Like by default, that thing has a radius of 1 meter. So you think, okay, let's start working from here. And then before you know it, you have something that is like 10 meters high. I mean, when you zoom in far enough, these little squares have even smaller squares within them. And those have even smaller squares within them as well. But within the context of like just the normal like front view that you can see, if you just like go like numpad 1, each one of those thicker lines is a meter. So that would be 10 small things. So every one of those would be 10 centimeters, yes. And then within those, if you zoom in enough, the small cubes within those are 1 centimeter, because they're 1/10 of that. And then if you zoom in even more, you get into like clipping issues anyway, so probably don't do that. As I was trying to figure out, the scale for this is just 1:1:1. So that surely isn't the issue, right? Yeah. My armature had to be renamed to roots. What the fuck? No way. No way that is the issue. That would be so dumb. Make sure the scale is in centimeters instead of, yeah, that's not the issue. If you know, using Blender, you're using the wrong scale. No, I'm not, because the fucking mesh is the proper scale. Oh, hold on. Maybe actually they're right, because the mesh gets automatically scaled up. Where do you... I think it's somewhere in here. Is it in settings? So one of these fucking things. Units. Unit scale. From 1 to... I guess this should be 100 then? So you can update this as well. Now that we're talking about it, you can change the unit scale there as well. And I think this might fix it. We'll see. If I just export this FBX real quick, only visible, big animations, all strips. Might as well apply transform, I guess. And then in armature, only the deform bones, no leaf bones added. Let's export this FBX. And then I'm going to just import it as a separate thing altogether before anything else. So just what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into enemies, ground zombie, and I'm just going to make a new folder and import it from scratch instead of just re-importing it. Just to be sure that we... Hold on. Gotta find the location on disk, which actually is just faster to try to save as, copy over the path and paste it into Windows here. Yeah, so if I now import all, does that fix it? No, but it still can't be the issue. Actually, it's going to be huge now, I think. Because if I just drag them into the world, they also... Yeah, so this is now huge. So people online are just full of shit. Who could have guessed, right? Because if I just drag them into the world, the animations are still tiny, but the mesh itself is bigger. The fuck's up with all the... Okay, so this is definitely not what we're doing. Oh, hold on. Maybe export settings for the FBX is what this guy is saying. Does this have... finally managed to fix it. Import size by setting the Blender unit size to 0.1 and having the FBX export as 100. That seems like that shouldn't make a difference. Now when I click on animations, it zooms in. Yeah, so you didn't actually fix it. Using Blender units as 1 centimeter and disabling this size thing and animations and static mesh imported all the same size. Your mesh is not a static mesh, it's a skeleton mesh because it's used with a skeleton. Why are people stupid? Just answer the fucking question. Have your armature at a scale of 1. It is. Such as scene to 0.1 meters. Export FBX at 0.01, so the mesh and the armature are the same size as Unreal, as the armature will always was always too small. Okay, so we're gonna try that. But I still kind of... Well, this is about the size that it is in Unreal. So that actually kind of does make sense, maybe? I don't know. In Unreal, import FBX, change scaling for the import details to 10 times. This is the most weird-ass unintuitive. I think we can, like, cancel out. Like, why do I need to set this to 0.1 if I'm going to import it 10 times the scale anyway? I don't believe that, actually. I do not believe that that is correct. I think that this person just doesn't really know what they're talking about, and they're just repeating like the steps that they took without understanding what they actually were doing. Because again, this is the internet. That does happen a lot. So I'm gonna delete all these. Eventually we'll fucking get there. But why would I make something 10 times smaller in Blender and then import it as 10 times bigger again in Unreal? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, yeah, it might be something to do with the armature's name, I guess. I vaguely remember something about that as well. Yeah, so now this thing is just actually like straight up tiny as fuck. And the animations are the same size, I guess. But that still doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it is to do with the name for the armature. That is the correct solution. So it's because it's armature. So let's call this zombie armature instead. Apparently, when it sees a object just called armature, it skips over it. And as such, it does weird stuff with like some transforms on this. So scale settings are going to go back to 1. So all these people are like, make it 10 times bigger here and 10 times smaller there, which again doesn't make sense because that cancels out. Yeah, they seem to be just full of shit. So this should, in theory, fix it. Maybe, hopefully. And then I guess we can just re-import the animations. Maybe we'll be better off just keeping it. Okay, hold on. No smoothing groups found. That's fine. So this is the right size. This also is the right size. So now if I go into here, this also is the right size. Which means that I don't need to do any of that weird, like, apply root motion to all of them. Because that's the thing that I was doing before. Okay. Now that we're back here anyway, I'm going to re-import everything in a moment, and we're just going to start from, like, scratch on all that. But it seems like this is working. So let's first, before we do any of that, change this animation to have a keyframe for this value so that it bakes down properly and uses the FK. Good. And then I had a lot of tea and a Red Bull before starting the stream, so I'm gonna have a super quick bathroom break. And then when we come back, I'm going to be exporting this stuff, and then we'll re-import it, and then we'll finally get finished on the logic in Unreal. It's annoying. My goodness, I came back and I almost clicked stop streaming instead of unmute. That would have been bad. It pops up with a "Are you sure?" message when you do that, so it actually wouldn't have been that bad. But let's get this thing exported properly this time, shall we? Just learned about gameplay tags, and they've changed my entire workflow. I imagine so. Gameplay tags are the best literal thing ever invented by humanity. Only being like slightly hyperbolic about that. They're real nice for like status effects and that kind of stuff. Because basically you don't need to add like a bunch of bools to every single class that you make. Why will you not delete? Yes. Okay, delete everything inside. Also fine. There you go. Can I now delete the folder? Thank you. Let's save everything. Re-import this thing one final, hopefully, time. I swear to God, if the additive animations still don't work properly, at least we'll have fixed one problem. So we don't have to like do weird workarounds for all that, but I will be mad. I will be really upset. It's kind of worrying that these... Okay, at least that animation works. It's kind of ugly, but it works. It's kind of worrying that these don't have thumbnails, though. Well, I mean, if it works, I guess. Let's create that animation blueprint again. And this time... save everything. There we go. Idle animation, idle arm, idle body, and idle turn. Let's make the body the base. Blend additive. This is going to freak out, I think. Yep, it does. It sure does. But that's because this thing is not set to being additive. So it should be additive on local space. And all these should loop. But now this should not change the scale of this thing, right? So if I just... Yeah, it's still the same scale. But the wonderful thing is now these two things are being additively added together on different loop cycles. There is a little bit of like the arm locking up there, admittedly, but makes it feel a bit more organic in the way it moves. So if we God forbid this goes wrong. If we now also add this like tuning effect to it, it's gonna mess up first because we haven't set this thing to being additive yet. We can always fix the animations and re-import them, right? But yeah, that might not be ideal. But I do think that they blend together fairly well. It's just this thing itself needs to like not do the way you do, because you can see the bottom of it. But altogether it works remarkably not shit. Yeah, it's kind of weird how it skips over objects if they have the name armature. Like that should probably be a bug that is like very much fixed by now. But yeah, the animations need a little bit of cleaning up to do there, but we'll get to that. So this is normal idle, which is also the walk cycle. So that's fantastic. And then we have the idle for underground. So this will be idle hidden. And this will be a blend by bool. If I can type properly, that is. So if this is false, and we'll make this an actual bool in a moment, we'll do this because we're going to have a bool for is underground. And if it is true, it'll just do this, which is to say, hide him under the ground. For some reason, the bottom thing doesn't scale properly with the right. I don't know why. But that's a thing that happens, I guess. I guess the blend times actually are fine like this. But yeah, we're going to just active value false for now. So those are the idle animations. Then we have the knockback animations, and this is, we take a random sequence. Can add in 3 entries there. Can we just drag these in? I think we can just drag those in, right? And this will just make it play a random knockback animation when I get knocked back. Could maybe make that into like to like a montage, but I don't really care. Anyway, so yeah, let's add the default slots here, and then another blend by bool. So if true, we play one of those at random. Does this thing have like anything set for like looping? Oh, shuffle mode. So yeah, that should be good. And then we have attack and death, which are 2 different animation slots that I still need to create on this thing. So let's just attack slots and death slot. And then we kind of have everything there is to it, I think. Yeah, I don't think there's that much more to do. Of course, then we need to start like programming in his behavior to drive a lot of these other animations into these animation slots. But this is the actual, this is the full animation logic, I think. So let's add a slot, call attack slots, and add a slot called death slot. So this way we can easily like prioritize which animations get played over which other ones. So even if you're attacking, if you're dying, that takes priority, right? And that's it. So let's start making the montages, I guess. because we have a handful of them. So the appear attack, the revenge attack, left attack, right attack. And then I guess technically the disappearing one would also maybe be... Yeah, we'll think about it. Animation montage of all these. Just right-click, create montage. Create montage. We just set these to the proper slots. So set this to... Oh, no. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to set this to attack slot. Right now, I want to set this to attack slot. Holy... I think that's just a Unreal bug. I think it'll be... What the fuck even is this? What the hell? This animation did not properly import. Gonna need to look into that animation in a moment. We can just re-import this. Yeah, let's pretend like he's just dancing. This is entirely on purpose. Well, this one works. That's good. Attack slot. And attack slot. So this is revenge attack montage. Revenge attack. Yeah, no, that seems to like add up. Do you not have... You don't have a keyframe for your IK influence. That is probably the issue. Yeah, because it's entirely animated with FK. That's easy to solve though. Export FBX. Back to Unreal we go. It's a revenge attack, right? So where is re-import? There we go. That's what we want. So the entire idea of, hey, everything is in engine, so it's quicker to animate in Unreal compared to Blender, isn't really that true. I guess if you don't have the blend file open, you have to then open Blender. But in my case, like, I also have to open a different level if I go through and test stuff. So it's... I don't know. I kind of don't mind animating in Blender so much. I mean, this is clipping through by time, but I don't really care. I guess this means we make the abilities for these, and then we are like 80% the way done with his enemy. Because I already have a template for his AI. For the most part. So it's remarkably super easy. So let's make those abilities, shall we? Because we already have like play animation and attack or something like that. I think it's called play gameplay ability, play simple animation, gameplay ability, zombie attack L. Let's make a folder for those. And I think this is the one for the enemies. Just gotta check real quick. Yeah, so this is event activate ability, add loose gameplay tag, play montage and wait, and ability. Yes. Yeah, these are for the enemies. Okay, so at this point, the only thing that I need to change is the default tag definitely should also be different. Hold on. The default tag should just be attack. At some point I started like making tags for every single individual thing, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, just attack, I think we'll do for the default. And then the default montage to play should be probably just cleared. At the moment it's one of the spider animations, but obviously that's not what we want to do. Yeah, zombie. I guess we fairly easily can just... Where is he? He's ground. Oh, some blueprints. I need to reorganize a lot of stuff here because I have a lot of like duplicate folders. Attack L. Put that in there, and then we just copy that over a handful of times. So attack R. Oh, no. Actually, yes. It was the one right below it. Okay. We probably do want to set up a couple of these as well, but I think we need to just set that up in the default one. So we'll do that in a moment. This will be the appear attack. That's the revenge attack. That's not what I want. Zombie appear attack. We also do want to make the revenge attack though. Revenge attack. Oh no, hold on. The appear attack should be a ability in and of itself, I think. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, that definitely should be. This is revenge attack, right? Yeah. So the appear attack we will probably like construct from the ground. That's probably going to be like a next stream kind of thing when I have a brain to work with. Now, I do want to check some of my other enemies' abilities, because some of these definitely are going to have stuff. Happening in like this one, like basic Reaper, right? If we do like basic Reaper left attack, ability tags, attack.basic, activation owned attacks. So that's kind of everything there is to it, I think. Never mind. But we do want to set that up in the class defaults here. So for that and for that, I guess we also want to activation blocked when they're stunned, right? This ability is blocked if the actor / component has any of these tags. Yeah, so that is whenever they're stunned. Yes. So we definitely don't need this one anymore either, actually, because gameplay ability just deals with that on its own. So we don't need that. Hopefully I didn't just break something. Welcome as a caveman supporter. Thanks. I have a question about I have a question about your caps lock first and foremost, but that's aside. I have these zombies that don't work well. The animation is wrong side up and sometimes horizontal. That is probably because you're importing them from software that has Y up. coordinates. Like if you're getting them from like something like the Unity store, that might be an issue. There is some way somewhere when you're importing these things. Let me just like importing this stuff. Let's see. I think it is like 99% of the time. If you make sure that your convert scene is on, that should do it. But there could be a lot of causes for that, so it's kind of difficult to like troubleshoot. In the worst case scenario, you can update the import rotation. Like if they're rotated in a certain direction, you can just import them with a different import rotation. And you can also, let me check where I have this stuff that I just imported. If you go into your skeletal mesh, after you've imported it, you can also retroactively change the import rotation. So in the asset details, you just look for imports. You get your import like transform, and there you can change the import scale, rotation, and translation. I accidentally actually pressed the button, didn't mean to do that. Let's set that back to 1. So it's probably that. But as the biggest issue probably is like here in Blender. If you make it in Blender, it probably should be fine. Again, make sure that convert scene is checked when you import them. But if you make this in Blender and you import it into Unreal, it should be fine by default because they both have Z up. But if you get your animations from like some online marketplace or whatever, they might be designed to work in Unity. In which case they will be Y up. So Unity's coordinate system has the green axis here as the up axis. So the entire thing will be like modeled and animated to work like this, or well, actually the other way around. So rotation like -90. And then if you import it into Unreal, it will be imported like this, right? Because things like Unity and some other software uses the y-axis as the up-axis. So that might also be what is happening. But if you made it yourself in Blender and it's just upward in Blender, that shouldn't be the issue. Maybe if you made it in Maya, I don't know what the coordinate space is in Maya. It might have a similar issue, but something along those lines. Anyway, we have those abilities now. So we should be able to make a basic as... We don't even have... Hold on, we don't even have a blueprint for them yet. Let's just steal this blueprint real quick and then throw it in there. BP zombie. Where we will... we also need to... Yeah, so it's not going to be able to deal damage yet because we don't have the animation stuff set up for it. And there's a few more things that we need to do. Now that I think about it a little bit more in depth, there's a few more things we need to do. But for now, actually, this thing can just be scale 1. Fantastic. And then this can actually be a fair bit smaller. Oh, and there's another thing we need to do as well. Holy hell, there's a few things we need to do actually still. Because this pool on his feet won't move yet. Material still does though. But we'll get back to that in a moment. We have this guy now, so let's just while we're at it, I think we stole from this guy, right? So let's just also steal this. Because most of the stuff that we're going to be doing here will be effectively just different animations, same behavior for about 90% of his behavior. So we can just say BT zombie for his behavior tree. It's a pretty simple behavior tree, just swap out the abilities in a moment. But also, before I forget, we need to change the BT asset for this guy to the zombie one. Yeah, so the revenge attack actually doesn't do anything anymore. We just check gameplay if he's attacking or if he's stunned, in which case we don't do anything. We have the basic attack, but we make that into the zombie left attack or the zombie right attack. If he can see the player, we'll move to the player. Makes sense. And otherwise he does his patrolling, which also makes sense. So this should now be a functional enemy, kind of. Obviously with some room for improvement, but for the most part, this guy should work. He doesn't start as being activated, so maybe start active. But yeah, no, his animations don't do shit. That makes sense, because we didn't set up the animation blueprint to be used on this thing. So in the mesh, we have the animation blueprint. We'll just put the zombie one in there, and there we go. Man, that does look kind of creepy. Oh, we also have his roar that we need to. I am quite happy with him. He has to. Yeah, I didn't notice. Somehow, he has the texture from the demon on him. Yeah, basic demon material. That should be zombie body. This one, I think, right? Yeah. That's a little bit better. Yeah, that's pretty like nightmare fuel, I think. Okay, with that said though, let's open up the not the material, this. And I don't know, should we do this in the animation blueprint or in the normal blueprint? I guess we can do it in the normal blueprint. Let's make a custom event, start morphing. And for this, we just need like 6 timelines. So add timeline. And we're going to add a few of them. This is not great for performance, I should point out. To the point where we might scrap this idea and do something slightly different. That's like entirely shader based. Because that will perform better, because it can be entirely done on a GPU. But for now, let's do this, because this is fun. I had a different way of doing this once upon a time. But I realize now that I actually have a better way to do this, because I have like dynamic curves, right? Did I delete that? No, I have this dynamic curve system that I made. I made a tutorial about it a while ago. And this is just like straight up a decent way to do this. So let's just like make a flow track. And we're not going to put anything in those flow tracks. We are, however, going to use last keyframe for length. And then we're going to entirely procedurally set this stuff. So they're always going to be called new track 0, actually. So might as well copy that over. And this is going to take a moment to set all these up, but we'll be okay. I think we need more than we have, but can always like make 1 or 2 more after this. Okay, so the idea would be that we make a custom event start timeline 0. Let's just copy these over. We'll re-copy the other stuff in a moment. I'm in real time trying to come up with how I'm going to do this, because I haven't really like thought this through too much. But we'll probably come up with something. So make this start timeline 1 and 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. Again, it's going to absolutely shit all over the performance of this thing, but it'll look cool. That's what's important. Okay, so when we start it, we're going to play from start for all these. Actually, no, we're going to be creating a dynamic curve. Outer will just be self, actually. What the hell? No. It's self. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so the input keys will be make array. And this will be, let's say, 0. This will be the starting time. And this will be the starting value. And this will be the ending time. And this will be the ending value. So starting time is always going to be 0. Ending starting value will be random range float. Oh, but that's actually... No, that works. No, that works. That's fine. Will be between 0 and 1. Right? And then the ending value will also be between 0 and 1. So it could be very close together and not do a lot, right? But it could also be like quite far apart. And each individual instance is going to have its own settings here. So it's going to be unique for every single instance every time you play it as well. Then the end time we're going to set to also a random float and range. And we're going to set that between 5 and 15 seconds. This might require a little bit of finagling, a little bit of pulling numbers out of your ass. Then we promote it to a variable, and we say, well, we don't actually need to promote it to a variable at all. But we will, because I don't know. Yeah. Curve 1. And we're going to do that for every single one of these, right? So we're going to make a bunch of these dynamically created curves. So let's just make 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I think we in total have 7. And we will promote all of these to individual variables. Bye-bye, they go. And we'll... Apparently we already had one called curve. That's gone now. Promote variable. Oh, curve 2. Don't even need to copy the word curve over. That's nice. Curve 3. Promote variable. Curve 4. Look, not everything about setting up your code is always very sexy, so we're gonna just kind of like have to deal with this for a moment. It's really annoying actually that I... Hold on. Promote a variable. Curve 0. This one will just move to the start. So that they actually get numbered 0 through 6. Just like these, and these ones aren't even numbered 0 through. Oh man, the numbering, the naming of this is already a mess. Anyway, then we connect all this stuff up, which, just for the sake of having this thing neat and like readable, we'll make this a sequence. Sequence node literally like doesn't do anything functional, aside from making things like not ugly. And I guess we can fairly easily reuse these now for all the different make arrays. That's a good question. If I... Every time this gets called, it creates a new array, right? So I can just reuse this code and hook it up into every single individual one. And they will still be unique arrays, I think. So that's actually kind of nice. Maybe not. I seem to remember thinking something like that before as well. But that's the idea behind the pure function, isn't it? So every time it gets called like backward and it reruns to get the most up-to-date value. So if you do something in a pure function with a random, we're going to just figure it out, I guess. Because it would be nice to just have one of those and just connect it up to like every single one of these like this. Because look at how easy it is to just hook this up. And now if I want to change something, I just have like one place to change it at, which is great. Okay, then we get all the timelines. So we're just going to like drag these in one by one, because that's my life. This is why C++ is better than Blueprint. I'll just put you on this that one down here. Set float curve. And this is the wonderful thing, right? Now we get the name of this curve. Put that in there. And now that curve track is going to be set to that dynamically created curve. I'm so happy that I had like that friend ask me about like making a dynamic timeline. And if I could do that with C++ code. And the answer was, not really. But this was the like middle ground solution. Like, but I can do this and now actually have a use for it myself. Because otherwise I would have done some other like stupid shit. But this is just way easier to set up now. And after we set all that, we will play them from the start. Now, once they are done playing, they will either play in reverse or play from start again. Depending on the direction that they will go in when they finished. So I'll just make them like ping pong. Now we just need to organize this a little bit more. Yeah, blueprints can get out of hand real quick. Which makes them kind of messy to work with on a large scale. I have one relatively like big blueprint in this, which is my level loading system. And every time I dive back into it, I get a little bit of a panic attack because they're massive. I guess maybe we don't actually... Hold on. Maybe we don't need these. We can just put these in there like this. And then we just play them all from start. And when they finish, we play them in reverse. Or from start again, which I'll show in a moment. So on updates, we'll do that in a moment. And when on finished, we do a switch on this. And if the movement was forward, we reverse from end. If the movement was backward, we play from start again. I swear, if this doesn't look at least halfway decent, if this actually looks cursed because like the geometry is weird or whatever, I'm gonna be very upset with spaghetti. Because it's tedious as hell to hook all this up. When it's forward, we go backward. When it was backward, we go forward. When it is forward, we go backward. When it was backward, we go forward. I'm gonna like not say that every time because it's really... Okay, apparently that hooked up properly. I will take it. Okay, all that works now. Fantastic. Now, the real thing that we're going to do is get this mesh and set morph target. The morph target value is going to be set to that on every update. And we do that, you guessed it, on every timeline. And then we just need to provide in the names of every single one of the morph targets. And I hope to God that I put in all of the timelines that I need at this point, because if there's one more, I might just ignore the fact that that morph target exists and not hook one of them up, because this is really, really tedious. But once this is in place, it'll be kind of cool, or at least in theory. Again, it might kill my FPS, having this many timelines actively like morphing geometry. I'm not sure how well this will go. But we're about to find out. So we have, they're just called key 1 through 7. That is actually fantastic. I didn't remember what I called them, but that is really quite good. So if I just copy key space, I can do key 2, key 3. That means I think I have the right amount of timelines as well. 4, 5, 6, and 7. There we go. Let's save this before it crashes, because if this oh, no. Oh, this doesn't have an input key. That is fair enough. Okay. Behold. Way too much work for a very simple effect. And then this is called start morphing, which we'll just do on begin play. And in theory, this should now I think it is working. It is moving. Is it moving? I don't know if it's moving. Hold on. Let me go stand somewhere where that thing won't be ruining my day. I think it is moving. It's just moving very lightly and very slowly. So I think the issue is down here. We're setting the values from 0 to 1 and 0 to 1. Which on average will, yeah, actually that is a good point. So we probably want this minimum value to be between 0 and 0.2. And this maximum value to be between 0.6 and 0.9. So that is always at least, like, if this one is the maximum possible and this one is the minimum possible, at least it's moving about 40% of the blend space back and forth. So they won't end up being too close to each other, because on average they will land on about 50% if they're both between 0 and 1. And they might also be better off having a slightly faster movement as well. So let's set this to like 5 and 8 or something. Chances of them overlapping is negligible anyway. I think they might all be in sync. I think they're just all in sync, to be honest with you. Which kind of ruins the effect that I'm going for. And if they are, which is fairly easily testable, we can just... If they are all in sync, they will all be printing the same value every single tick. So we just need to do that with like 3 of them. And we'll know. If this spams 3 different numbers, they're not in yes. Yeah, this doesn't seem like they're in sync. I think the effect just works a little bit less well than I thought it would. Because they are quite far apart in terms of like their values, so I doubt that's the issue. And they do go up and down quite a lot. So let's just make the range bigger. Minus 0.25 to positive to just 0. And then the max range will be 0.8 to 1.25. And we'll make them move back and forth in like 3 to 5 seconds instead. Assuming that this doesn't like get glitchy and buggy, which it might. Okay. We're gonna get rid of that fucking bomb thrower thing, because it's actually annoying. Is this kinda what I was looking for? kinda. I mean, I would prefer if it didn't like go up like this. But that's just an issue with the blend shapes that I threw together fairly quickly. Aside from that, this pretty much like functions the way that I imagined that it would. So yeah, that's pretty damn good. And it doesn't really seem to, well, I mean, my GPU is a bad example to test this on, but this is about like 70 frames per second, like 14, 15 milliseconds, right? And if we don't have this thing on, it is about 14 to 15 milliseconds. That's fair. What if we put down like 10 of these? Just having the 10 of them in here does increases to 21 to 22 milliseconds already. So the question is, when these things are moving, does that increase, like significantly decrease the frame rate to the point where it takes like 30 milliseconds or something like that now? Need all of them to be active, of course I do. I also really should fix the issue where every single enemy has a camera component, because there's no need for that. Start all of them as active. Actually works remarkably well. It's also kind of funny having so many of these guys just slithering around. I don't know why they have their health bars up that high, though. That's kind of weird. Oh my god, I fell off. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, okay, so I think that's fine. It doesn't look as good as I thought it might, but that is partly an issue of refining the actual like thing. Like here in Blender. Because it's kind of like just badly done in Blender. So I might just reset it there. Yeah, so we add two new boxes. So we have a box collision, which we can add to the mesh. And we set this to the hand left. Or is it? Is it big? It is big. Yeah, maybe slightly too big. One could argue. So let's add it to about that big instead. Yeah, that seems a bit better. Hold on a moment. We can pause the animations so we can put this thing into a slightly more sensible place. Make it a slight bit bigger. That's probably good. And then we also put one, let's call this one box L, and then this one we'll call box R. And this box R we'll put on the right hand. Hand R. Get all the properties from, wait, what? 1%. There we go. And this is weirdly rotated, but we can just roughly put it into place. It's not exactly a science, this whole game development thing. Where did the boxes go? Did they become huge again? Did they become small? Where did they go? What are we talking about? I guess this is just a set active or not. I guess we used this for stuff, but we have a like hitbox thing, right? Or like damage box, update damage box, yeah. So both of these are going to just be set to state false at start. And then I think we do this in the animation blueprint for all the others. If I'm not mistaken. Let me just like get the... for this one, I think the Reaper does make more sense because we did make it more recently. Left attack. Yeah, so turn on damage left. Don't mind the glitchiness there. And then turn off damage left. These are... yeah. So we... custom events. Turn on damage L. Damage L turn off. This definitely, I should set up an interface to do this. So that I can make this more generic and can just make this like a class, but we'll be fine. Turn on damage R. Turn off damage R. And now we also need to like get this thing cast to zombie. Promote it to a variable. And then we are actually like quite far along. And we still are only an hour and a half into the stream. We are getting a lot of stuff done today, guys. And I am super about it. Because I wasn't expecting to like move this quickly. Obviously, the animations have room for improvement. To say the least. But hey. Get box L, I think we call it, right? Box L. Get box R. And then damage box. L and L. Damage box R and R. This is to turn it on. This one is to turn it on, and that one is to turn it off. And that's effectively how we can enable and disable those damage boxes on a new enemy. If we also hook them up to the enemy reference itself. So yeah, it can just be as easy as that. And that's also kind of why I'm like, do I care enough to make that an interface to save myself the 2 seconds to do this every time in a new animation blueprint? I probably should, but there's about a million things that I'd rather do at that time. How are we gonna do this? I guess I guess the way we do this is we give the zombie a bool for is underground. And we just kind of forward that to here, right? So we get is underground. We promote that to a variable. And we also get stunned. I can't believe that I'm still using that, but sure. Because we need it for the animation logic. So that's why this comes in. So we have this is underground. And stunned. Okay. So let's do some animation stuff. And let's also give this guy some default stats. Oh, he already has default stats, actually. Never mind, we don't need to do that. We do need to give him eventually his own default stats, but for now on, he can just use the zombies. Or the this is the zombie, the demons. So what are we going to do again? Oh yeah, the animation stuff. Can you tell that my brain's just not braining today? So yeah, attack montage for revenge attack. I guess we enable both here. So let's add a notify track real quick. Add notify. Wait, what? Do I need to save this to make that work? There should be those notifies specifically like for this skeleton. What do we call it again? Damage right on damage R. Wow. Let's. Oh, these are not. Yeah, no, hold on. I'm doing this the wrong way around. I'm making events and using them as notifies. What you should do is the other way around. Can I just set this event as being, hey, you're a notify as well? Is that a thing that I can do? Maybe it's not. We'll just hook these up in a moment. So what we do instead is you do new notify here, notify name, damage, right on. And new notify, damage, right off. Actually, we put that one over there. We want to have new notify, damage left on. And over here then add notify, damage left off. Which actually goes back all the way over here. Okay, now that we have made those, we can actually come back in here, damage right, there we go, right on, and damage right off, which they both need to go down here actually. So yeah, I made those custom events, but you actually need to make the notifies first, and then it adds in those events for you to use. It's been a while since I've set up a animation blueprint. Since the last boss fight, I think, actually. So it has been a while. It's been like 3 months, I think, at this point. But now that we have those made, we can fairly easily just add them in. So we can just add notify. And they should be, I think, in here. Yeah, so other assets disabled. Damage left on. Add notify. Damage right on. No, I think about it. You can just copy these over as well. So I can just like select these like this. And paste them in like that. For this one specifically, I might also like put in just like a sphere trace over here so that it doesn't miss you when you're standing too close, because that is a thing that a lot of my enemies do have as an issue. But we'll worry about that when we get to it. So this is the left attack, so the right damaging things go away. And this is the other side, obviously, so we get rid of the left ones. And that's it. Now have him able to damage us. I think it is as easy as that, but we'll figure it out. Because it might not be. Yeah, so he stopped moving. He also shouldn't be knocked back, but we'll worry about that later. Also that. There's a lot going on here. Hold on. I don't know, one thing at a time. It seemed like when he tried to attack me, he stopped moving altogether, I think. So that feels like he might be trying to just play the wrong animation. Did I make sure? Yes, I did. Let's check out this behavior tree. I'm going to put it up over on my other monitor so you guys can't see what's going on, but I will be able to troubleshoot if his AI is doing anything weird. Because it might be getting stuck on something. Yes, it's trying to play the animation. And it's not ending the ability. And it is not ending the ability because it's not getting the tag for attack removed. And it's not getting the tag for attack removed because the ability isn't ending, I'm guessing. Oh, because he's not being given the ability. Right. I'm going to change this to, instead of try activate ability by class, I'm going to do this as... Oh, but it also gives the ability. Oh, well. Give ability and activate once. This is a much simpler way to do exactly the same thing here. Because I always get missed or messed up with not actually giving these guys the ability that they're doing. Or that they're supposed to be doing. But that shouldn't have been the issue here. So, kind of confused as to what the issue is. Yeah, so it still doesn't do it. Which implies it's an issue with the abilities. So let's take a look at these. Ability tags are attack.basic. And it's supposed to do this one, which is supposed to play on the attack slot. Aside from the fact that this thing straight up doesn't deal damage. Like at all. Oh, hold on, that might be to do with act to begin overlap damage enemy basic. Yes, that's true. How does any of this shit deal with damage then? Because it... Blueprints, enemies. Gyarados, ground, basic demon, basic attack. Play basic attack animation is what I'm supposed to be using. Which does indeed wait for and deal damage. So yeah, we still can get rid of this. Okay. We'll revise that. That's fine. Oh, simple play animation. So this should be attack animation. That's where I went wrong. Play basic attack animation. We should do that for every single one of these. Still doesn't explain why it didn't play the animation though. Because it still should have. So I don't think this is gonna fix it. But we have to do this anyway, so... Let's just make him attack when we are a little bit further away, because it's getting stuck on, I think, being too close to the player. Okay, it instantly ends the ability, so still something is going horribly wrong. But whatever could it be? Let's check out the parent class. Yeah, so ability tags, we just do a attack, right? And then activation owned. Yes. And then activation blocked. We set to stunned. These are just default values that I should have done a long time ago. But that makes adding and removing these loose gameplay tags unnecessary. I don't think we're using on ability and anymore, but might as well. So yeah, this is uncompleted, uninterrupted, and uncancelled. It ends the ability and wait for and deal damage. Wait for a gameplay event with a certain tag, and then deal damage to player. Deal damage to player should be simplified, but we'll worry about that later. Because I need to redo some of the damage code in my game anyway. So the only way for this thing to get to end ability is to try to play the montage that we're giving in and interrupting, cancelling, or completing. Because that's the only end ability node that we have, I think. Yes. So... the fuck? Because zombie attack left. Refers to a montage that we can just play. So that shouldn't be the issue. I also don't know why we're waiting for a game. Oh, no, that actually does make sense. Yeah, I don't know why this is an issue. Why is this an issue? Because you're moving to the player. I don't know why it's not looping either. It tries to start this animation, but it doesn't finish because the thing never ends. Why doesn't the thing end? Let's simplify the behavior tree real quick. I'm going to, on my other monitor, I'm going to get rid of the right attack for a moment. And we're going to just play test this with the left attack so that I can troubleshoot. So that's this one, right? So on end of ability, let's just print a string. Ability end. And on ability start, ability starts. And then let's go to the, not this one, revenge attack, play basic attack animation. So, surely he's not marked as being dead, right? I'm going to put in a print string anyway. I'm dead. Put in a print string here for cast failed, which also shouldn't happen, but fucking every part that doesn't end up going to the ability's end, we need to take in consideration. Yeah, wait for and deal damage, doesn't matter. Call on ability end. Okay, so we have a couple of print strings in place to see what happens. Ability start and ability not end. Did I do something dumb? Well, probably. But did I do something like super dumb? And like not connecting stuff up here or something? No, I did. So this attack slot should always... Other question. Why doesn't this loop? Because these are all supposed to loop. So why does it not do that? Well, this one also is supposed to loop, but like it doesn't actually matter. So there is some issue with that as well. Oh, did I Control Z? I think I might have figured out. Did I Control Z by accident through? No. Oh. I did something very dumb. Something super fucking dumb. Yeah, it's not going to play anything if pause animations is enabled. Holy shit. I don't know why that carries over to, like, on runtime, but it does. But as you can see, fucking works now. It doesn't deal damage to me because it doesn't properly, like, send the... I do like the damage and like the attack animation, actually. I think it has a good amount of weight to it now after I tweaked it a little bit today before the stream. Okay. It does not send the right signal yet because this thing is waiting for a damage enemy basic, or it should be waiting for damage enemy basic, but it's not. So that's easy to set up though, because we can go to class defaults, and that is damage.enemy.basic. We need to do that for the left attack as well. But I already had it in this one. Okay, I'm just mixing things up. That's fine. Okay, so we have all of them now. We also need to go into the zombie, and I think we just have like a... Oh, it's a revenge ability. But that should be fine because I think we made a zombie... Did we not? Oh, just zombie revenge attack. There we go. Anyway. There we go. That leaves us with why the ever-living hell is the... well, the lock-on, which is one thing, but where the hell... The HP bar. It's way too high up. I think that makes the zombie work. So we have the zombie left attack and the zombie right attack. And they should be dealing damage now as well. That they do. I don't see the HP for them yet because I don't have like the HP widget enabled here. Does the other one just not deal damage or did it miss me? Can you please use your other hand? Can you please use your other hand and not miss me? I think it's just not damaging me. That would be the left hand then, right? Damage enemy dot basic. Yes. Damage enemy dot basic. Yes. So why Wookie? Because I don't think that there's any difference. Aside from maybe... Yeah, now we have damage left on and off. Damage right on and off. Place the animation properly, so that's surely not the issue. Are they properly connected up in here? Oh, yeah, no, that'll do it. Damage left on and damage left off. And that gets us to testing his... No, that's the wrong thing I just deleted. That gets us to testing his revenge attack next. And... Man, we effectively have the enemy done. We only need to like program in the one more ability, which is actually super easy as well. And then we're done. So this one now also works, yes. And there's a lot of tweaking to do, admittedly, because this thing shouldn't have knockback, but that requires us to... Okay, so it didn't do the revenge attack there. Let's stick around closer to it for a moment until it regains. Yes, no, it definitely does do that. It doesn't do the danger things, the thingy. Which is actually a fantastic point, because it's not going to do that properly, I don't think. Because this thing actually grows as it... Oh, we might need to make a specific new particle system for that. So yeah, the attack effects is... I have like a revenge enemy attack. But I don't think that works well on things that have their meshes grow. As I was saying, he shouldn't be getting knocked back and that kind of stuff. But that is... Actually, that works well enough. But that is an issue for which I need to redo some of like my damage system code anyway, which I am working on. But that is part of a bigger like refactoring overhaul that I'm slowly but surely, oh fuck, getting into. So effectively done. I guess we can make the other ability as well, right? So gameplay ability. Gameplay ability, like let's call it zombie dive. This is gonna take a thing or two more, so let's give this the attack as well, and then this one when stunned. Not allowed. I don't think this thing can be stunned, to be honest with you, at the moment. But maybe with the magic that I'm implementing, we'll get there. And anyway, things are going well for today's stream, for this project. How are you guys doing? Are you progressing with your own projects in the background? I'm assuming that while you're like listening to me rambling, most of you are like working on your own stuff. Like I would almost hope that this is a second monitor type of thing and not a full focus type of thing, because if it is, man, that must hurt. So yeah, we start by, we don't need to commit ability, it can always do this, I guess. Let's just make it the easy way for now. And we can always figure this out later. Yeah, we can do it the easy way for now. So play montage and wait. The montage will be the thing that we don't have yet, so hold on a moment. Zombie, there we go. Dive, 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 dive. Where's the dive? Idle arms, zombie body. Oh, zombie roll. We also want to implement that. I'll do that in a moment. Dive down will become a montage. We also first want to get avatar and cast to zombie, because this thing is only ever going to be run on the zombie, so we want to make sure that it is the zombie. If not, we end ability like instantly. But if it is the zombie, we also set on the ground to true in a moment. Once this is, let's say, blending out. And then we do this dive thing, and then we move to location. I don't know. Move to actor. Apply a force to character's movement to move to a target actor. I don't want to move over a certain duration though. I want to move over with a certain speed. We can do get player pawn for this. Eventually, if we want to like make this more generic and make this also work for like a thrall, well, now we can summon ourselves. We will just give him like a target actor to go to. But for now, we'll just do the player pawn and we can replace this later. Location offset, no. Offset alignment, no idea what that means. Duration, I guess the duration, I don't know, man. Restrict speed to expected, I guess. This is the issue, right? Because it's going to now take 15 seconds. It's not just using the character movement speed that it has, I don't think. Which is kind of fine, but also kind of not. Anyway, unfinished, we then just play another montage. This one will be the, I think we call it appear or something. Zombie appear attack. Where we wait for gameplay effects. No, wait for tag gameplay events. Wait for events, that's it. Oh no, it's just wait events, because wait gameplay event. Fucking hell. And immediately upon starting that animation, actually, as well, we're going to set underground back to false. Set underground back to false. And when the event is received, we will payload, break, targets, apply damage. My new message, my new interface. It will be neutral damage. The base damage will set to like 15 for now. Knockback will set to 135. And the damage dealer will be the avatar. You hear that, Ang? You're dealing damage. Which will... Oh, that's only on event received. My bad. Event received. Which will be... And ability. Either that or on animation completes. Now the event tag we're looking for will be the same one. Hold on. It's one of these, right? Damage gameplay event. There we go. Damage.enemy.basic. Damage. That should realistically be all there is to it. We should now have a thing where he can dive below ground, move toward the player, and come back up. I think. So let's get the behavior tree back here. And we're gonna check if the distance is less than 250. We do that. If okay, gotta kinda... Distance should be greater than 1,000 units. Can please say see player is not altogether relevant, I don't think. And the cooldown for this thing is only try this once every 10 seconds. And then we delete this and we call this appear. Zombie dive is what we called it. And we also want to add in a chance here. So we have this decorator that I made a while ago, which just gives you a percentage chance to do something or not. I think I called it something like random. Search function for decorators fucking sucks, man. Yeah, random chance. There we go. So the chance will be 35% every time it's tried. So every 10 seconds it has a 35% chance to do this when it is further than 1,000 units away from you. Well, that was fucking quick, wasn't it? Yeah, so after 15 seconds, it just does the thing. But if I get closer, you see it's always doing, it's always making the full 15 seconds full. It's not, yeah. So, and then it's even facing the wrong way. What the fuck? That's actually kind of neat as well. The way he can just like kind of pop up like that. Don't worry about those shadows. That'll probably be fine. So yeah, that doesn't work that great. I guess what we do instead is, instead of using this, we just zombie get AI controller, move to actor. Cool, actor will be player pawn for now. This will work a lot better. Actually, we move to actor. Simple move to actor, I think. No. Move to actor or location, I think. Maybe. Yeah, that's the async one. Or a latent one. Latent, technically. Sure. So that's goal actor. So it's going to be tracking you even if you move. On move finished, we play this. But we also we can get rid of this one. We also can do just a delay of 10 seconds. If he doesn't reach you within 10 seconds, he will also pop up. And continue the behavior tree this way. I think this works better than using the gameplay ability version of it. So let's check it out. It still does do it immediately, so something is definitely going wrong there, but we'll look into that in a moment. But you see how he's constantly doing the same speed, and that's... Oh. I mean, that kind of works, to be fair. Still. What just happened there? It's not what I wanted to have happen. But what is happening is when this thing becomes true, it also makes this thing untrue. So I guess we should put this the other way around. And then make this one not abort anything. Now the question becomes, why does it? Instantly do that attack always? Because it shouldn't. It should only be able to get the chance every... I think I know why. Maybe. We'll check this out, and if I'm right, I will explain what's going wrong. Oh, no, now it actually seems to be working. So I was just... Yeah, okay. So that is... Let's check out if he actually does the thing properly. Yep, okay. So he does do that. And it doesn't end the ability. Tag to watch for end is just the attack tag. Did I not give this thing? No, I did. So is it not ending the ability? No, it should end the ability at the end of that animation. We have the end ability thing here, so let's dive ended. Oh, that's no. Yeah, so it doesn't always do it now. It was just a matter of priority. So what I was thinking is apparently just wrong. I won't even do it that often. I don't think. Yeah, so okay. Let's just forcefully trigger this to end, which also properly works. Dive ended, and okay, so it does end when I think I do want it to. There's an interesting question to be had here. Because right now it can only do that like diving attack, as I call it, like the vanishing attack, when it is not actively perceiving me. But if it is already chasing me, it will never try to do that attack. Which I don't know if I like that. Let's run out the clock on the attack. Yeah, so if it runs out the clock on the attack, it doesn't end it. But it actually did do the other... What the... So yeah, the thing should probably abort lower priority just to try to do that attack. And then we'll see. So once every 10 seconds or so, it should attempt it, which means that it does it on average once every like 35-ish seconds. Then it takes 10 seconds to give up and just do the movement. But then it does get stuck in that ability. Doesn't end that ability. But if I walked up to it, it does do another ability. Because I guess the cooldown isn't working properly, maybe? No, that doesn't make sense. Because it does work. Okay, it is something with the ability code itself, it must be. I probably just made some logic issue. So, no, that doesn't make sense because it both goes into this exact same thing. Like, there's no difference between this and this path. So, that actually straight up just doesn't make sense. Aside from that, the other situation potentially makes it hit me. Let's just say that we also want to end the ability on cancel and interrupt. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's somehow getting cancelled or whatever. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Definitely nicer than troubleshooting this thing. But at least my random chance seems to be working, because he does not seem to interested in doing this ability at all at the moment. Okay, there we go. Let's troubleshoot this in like one way. So like test it like this. Immediately goes into another ability. So that way just consistently works. I mean, you can ask a question. I don't know if I have an answer to it, but questions are always free to ask. And it still gets stuck on that ability when it does it this way. Why does that happen? That doesn't make sense. Because it still does do dive ended, right? I didn't pay attention there. Is it because I'm still within like 1,000, further away than 1,000 units when that happens? Just due to like my testing setup. Let's just keep a little. Yeah, it still does it that way. Why? It almost must be a visual bug with the behavior tree, because there's also no way that if it is in a ability like task, that it can interrupt a higher priority task. I saw a video on how to control that morph target facial expression in Sequencer. Is it possible to control this with the character controller? I mean, yeah, it should be. I don't know if it's very intuitive and if you really want to do that, but it is the same way that I'm like morphing like that little tentacle puddle thing under this enemy. I'll go over it again in a moment once I have tested this thing. For the love of God, can you just please do the attack? Please. Come on. It's not that difficult. Just do the ability. Just do it. There we go. So really what I need to figure out is, will he do the ability while he's chasing me again? Because he's seemingly stuck in that thing now. But if I break his line of sight, for instance, he's still moving toward me. It looks like, yeah. Okay, but now he seems to have stopped. So something weird is going on. Anyway, you can do something like that, like changing morph targets with like code through this method somewhere in here. This one. I have it set up a little like over the top at the moment, but you can here set morph target. So if you have your character's mesh, you can just set the morph target by name. So your morph target has a name, just give in the name here and give in the value. Personally, I'm driving this with like timelines and stuff, but like you can ignore all of that. You can give in a move target's value with this node. So you can do that fairly easily. Now, setting up code that does that in the way that you want it to might be a little bit more annoying. But timelines are really helpful for that stuff. Okay, so I really don't understand why this is behaving differently. There's no reason that it should be. Sorry, this one. No reason that it should be behaving like this differently. We're just gonna hook up blend out here as well and see if that makes any difference, but it shouldn't. I also still didn't check if it said dive ended. I guess we need to just like stop its move. Oh, that might be what's going on. Yeah, I think I know the issue now. Because when it gets the task to move to a player, I think it like suspends the behavior tree for a moment. Go on, do the attack. I probably should not make it 30. What? There you go. Yeah, okay, so let's just make him run after us for 10 seconds and pay attention on whether or not it says dive ended. Okay, so the issue is, yeah, behavior execution is paused. So what we need to do is on and ability, we need to stop movement, I think will fix it. Just makes him stop movement for like a moment, which will allow the behavior tree to take over again. The reason that I didn't do it when he actually like reached me is because that is that will end like that operation, which makes the behavior tree take over again. But this should, yeah. So now that is all fixed. So that attack works as well. It's a little janky, but yeah, that's good. Okay, so then the only thing at this point to add in is the like little like character flare thing, which is fairly easy to put in, and then we have the entire enemy finished. So I guess next week we're not going to be programming this guy because we already did. And it's a pretty good ending time for the stream as well, so that's actually kind of nice. So yeah, let's set timer by event. This event will be custom event. We'll check this every, I don't know, 15 seconds. It'll be looping. And then we will make the character roar. Roar, 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 roar. There we go. We'll make that into a montage. So create animation montage. And then you can just like play montage. And that should be it. So now Oh, now it will just play every 15 seconds. I guess what we want to do is we want to put in a branch with a greater than random float in range between 0 and 1. We want it to be greater than like 0.75. So 25% of the time, that random float will be greater than 0.75. So meaning that every minute on average, it will do that animation. Which just gives him a little bit more to do, a little bit of character. So I guess we just kind of like go stand in a place where he can't reach us, which also makes that entire thing not work, but that's good. That's fine. And we just wait for him to see if he does that attack or that animation. I will just lock onto him as well, so that wherever he walks, we will be able to see him. I wouldn't do that if I were you. The flames can't actually damage the enemy, I don't think. But it does do that attack a lot. And I think because that is technically an attack, no, because right now he's an idle. Which could be an issue, thinking about it. Because the default slot will override the idle animation. So this very much could be not doing it so far. Come on, buddy. You can do it. I believe in you. Or maybe not. Well, I mean, you can do that. I know that you can do that. I'm very proud of you for that. It's not quite what I was looking for. Okay. Another very quick bathroom break, and then when we come back, we'll see if I can fix the issue, and otherwise I'll fix it off stream at some point. Okay, let's see if we can figure out why he's not doing the thing. Might just be a matter of luck or bad luck in our case. So let's get rid of this portion of the entire thing. And make sure that it's the right Yes, it is the right animation. Okay. Let's try again. So after 15 seconds, it should just do that animation. Which it should actually overwrite this as well. So this is a bug that we need to fix, but it doesn't. It does not. Okay. Let's... Does this not run? Hold on. I was just promoting the timer handle to a variable, and then when we play play the montage, I'm going to set that up as a breakpoint, so that we can be sure whether or not that code runs to begin with. Because I'm thinking that it might not be. Oh! It sets this timer every frame. Don't want that to be a thing, of course. Do we have a begin play or like an initialize? Yeah, we do. So that'll fix it. The issue is a timer that gets reset every frame starts recounting every frame, which of course means that it'll never actually fire. Yep, there we have the breakpoint. Let's keep going. That's the animation. Now, we do want to check whether or not this thing is underground if we do this. So is underground not Boolean. And then make an AND Boolean. So if this calculation rolls true and this thing is not at the moment underground, then we'll play that animation montage. And we'll remove the breakpoint. So we also have the character player thing in place now. Again, some of the animations are going to need a little bit of work because this thing's supposed to be like under there. The actual morph targets maybe also need a tiny bit more work. Because it's not really working that well at the moment, I don't think. But for the most part, like, this enemy is just finished. We can start putting this thing into the game and it will function. Not that special, but well, it'll work. We can kill it. And then there's a handful of things that we do need to do for the like game as a whole. Anyway, that'll fix some of like the knockback related issues for this dude. Also, he doesn't have a death animation. Yeah, okay, that's a thing. Let's just take the one of the knockback ones and make it into a death animation. So we create a montage, zombie death. And I just think we have a destroy. Yes, I think for these we just have a notify for destroy, right? Destroy is just kill enemy. Yeah, okay. So let's do that. Not ghost death, but zombie death. Ghost death also had some like turn on effects and turn off effects. I'm fairly certain that I actually have a notify state for that now. Yeah, I do. So let's use the notify state for that. Oh, notify state. Brain is not braining anymore. And a notify death effects. And I think this also kills the enemy at the end. So death particles. No, but maybe it should. I think it should. Because kill enemy itself also like wait for a second, right? So it sets the mesh to invisible. And then it waits 0.2 seconds to actually destroy the actor. So I don't really see a reason not to include that in this and make my life a lot easier. And just make this animation a lot slower as well. Or a lot shorter, rather. So like 0.51 or something. There we go. Okay, I think that is the last thing that oh no, it needs to actually be set to use that animation as well. So death. Death animation, zombie, death. And let's try. I mean, I can't die because I don't have HP here, so that's actually kind of like good. It didn't do the revenge attack. Something to look into. But yeah, so that was a bit laggy. But I feel like that was a shader issue because it was trying to like compile a shader on the go. But yeah, the revenge attack thing is a bit weird. I also still need to figure out how in the world I'm going to fix the... Okay, there we go. That definitely works. It's, oh, I know why it's not great. It's because one very, very simple thing. It needs to have a curve for... Fuck me. Holy hell. I think there should already be one with a proper name in here. I think it's called dissolve. Dissolve in. Yeah, there we go. So that is at 0. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Hold on. Type material. Now it should be a material type. Why is it not? Let's get rid of this one. Hold on. Dissolve in. My dude. Why are you being a bitch about this? That's a skeleton. We need to have the skeleton mesh. In the asset details, right? We have zombie body. Oh, it's not the zombie body material. Okay, that makes sense then. But even then, this material has a dissolve in parameter on it. I think, somewhere. Yeah, dissolve in. There we go. So that 1000% should just work. I might be missing something entirely. Let's see. Zombie body. Is it this one? Oh, yeah, no, that does actually make sense because I did remove and re-import those, didn't I? The textures, that is. So let's put those in. This one and this one. And the zombie eyes technically don't fade out either, but we'll worry about that in a moment. Okay, with that, I guess we can add a curve on called dissolve in. And here we can set it to being a material. Okay, so that's what we need to do. And then in the zombie death, I think, we finally have this, right? Okay, so we can add a key at 0 with a value of 1 so that it's fully in. And it actually does work on all the other materials as well, it seems. So that's good. So here we know. I mean, we'll add a key and then we'll just set this to 0. And it doesn't work on the eyes because the eyes don't have that thing yet, but we'll do that in a moment. There we go. That's just... Let's get rid of zombie eyes and we'll do this as a copy of zombie body. Call it zombie eyes and we'll just make it a texture that's like 2 pixels big. Can just set that to the base flat map, and surely we have like just a simple like low resolution red texture in here. Do we not? I think we do have blue. I guess we can just use a normal map. Like flat color. I can just make a texture that is like 2 pixels big and it's just red. But that way we can just use the same master material for it, which saves me a bit of hassle to do. For now, color checker will probably do well enough. And if I'm lucky... Yeah, no. Not even close. I was going to say, if I'm lucky... oh, hold on. No, it still could be... zombie... eyes? It straight up actually does put the orange on the eyes. That is fucking hilarious. Because we can just increase the emission power here to like 20. I think. And then in theory... No, because... it should be the emission map that we do that on. Now we set this back to gray. Fantastic! Works well enough. That should now make everything like fade out a little bit better. So let's try that. Okay. That there we go. It's coming back. Oh, it just fell off the edge. No, my experience. Okay, that's still a little weird. Still a little weird that it does that. But for the most part, I think it does a pretty good job at killing this enemy now. I just don't know if the lag spike there is going to be consistent. So let's check that out. It seemed to lag out a little bit, didn't it? Let's keep a look at the frame times. So around 14, 15 milliseconds. So 60, 70 frames per second. Oh yeah, definitely like jumped up to like 30 milliseconds there for a second. I wonder why that is. Is it because it's spawning in it? Oh, I need to do some things anyway. Is it because it is spawning in the experience orb on top of existing collision? Maybe? That's the only thing that I can imagine that it could be, but it would do that for everything, right? But that must be what it is. It's the only thing that makes sense, I think. But to be fair, I don't think that the experience thing should have collision anyway, so let's like XP orb. Well, it should have collision, but not against like pawns. So if we look at the mesh that we use for this thing, it should not overlap with projectile. It should ignore projectiles. It should block world static, world dynamic with pawn and weapon, and this one. Maybe even physics bodies. I don't know about that, but destructible I don't care about. So yeah, it should probably ignore all those. The player itself is going to like trigger this overlap anyway, so it's never going to collide with that. But I think the issue might be that it's spawning within itself, or within like an existing collision, and Unreal's kind of going to freak out about that. So let's see if this maybe solves that. Why did that thing overrule the attack animation? It shouldn't. It still does it. Why does it do that? Because it doesn't do that with other enemies, right? Like if I just put in a like basic demon, that one doesn't lag me the ever living hell out when I kill it. I mean, I need to start it as being active, but aside from that, like that one just dies fine. It doesn't lag me out, does it? I know what's going on with the camera, but let's just ignore that for now. You see, that one doesn't do that. But this one does, so the fuck. Only a little bit, though. This time. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm gonna like cook content and like make a packaged build of this thing pretty soon. Because sometimes that kind of like weird ass stuff is just because it's trying to like work with uncooked content, and it just like takes longer because of that, because it's reading it directly off disk or something. I had the same thing with like level streaming issue. I tried using level streaming volumes, and it didn't feel like it was doing anything asynchronously. It felt like it was locking them in like synchronously, so blocking. But then once I cooked all my content, which did give me a couple of errors, which was a good thing to fix up anyway, we're on top of the world. Actually, fuck. Once I did that, the like the stuttering on that stopped as well. So I have to imagine that this might be a similar issue. I'll have to double check and like test this before sending this off to people, of course. But we're getting really close to me sending this off to some more people now, because we probably will do a couple more magic spells. I will get this maybe at some point in my life. Maybe we'll do a couple more magic spells, but we have some magic spells now. We'll balance the actual stats of them a little bit more, and I will tweak the actual like boss fights a little bit more and do a test run through it just to see if everything has worked properly. And then I'm going to you see, this is one little thing that I'm not entirely sure on yet, is if I'm going to be doing this magic thing, part of the ideas that I have also got like summon spells that summon like familiars or like thralls, or whatever you want to call them, which is essentially just enemies that are on your side and fight other enemies. For that, I do need to refactor quite a lot of code now, so I don't know if I'm going to want to do that before or after starting the test plays, because it does somewhat impact the gameplay, but maybe not enough to the point where I want to postpone the testing even more for it. So I think I'm just going to stick with the handful of spells that I have now, polish up a couple of things, and then within a few weeks maybe have like a public tests ready. Anyway, I'm going to call it there for today. We made so much progress. We didn't just program his animation logic. We just, well, we already had a lot of his general AI logic. We could just steal from something else. But this enemy is now done. He exists and we can place him in the game. And I really, really like his design. This, frankly, I think is actually straight up my favorite enemy that I've made. Like, I'm very happy with him. So, I'll see you all back next week on Tuesday again, when we do stuff. Probably magic. Probably magic programming. So, anybody has any ideas for magic spells that I can make, that we can create, do let me know. Either Tuesday during the stream or beforehand on Discord. But until then, it's been a good one. And I'll see you all back next time.